Off the Record is a show from 88.1 WKNC in which DJs talk with artists about everything from their music to upcoming tours to former bandmates' birthdays. Make sure to follow WKNC on SoundCloud and Tumblr so you never miss a beat. Enjoy.
This is DJ Beowvlf in studio at WKNC with M8alla, our double barrel benefit artist for night 2. Well, hello. Thank you for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Have you ever been affiliated with WKNC in the past?
In the past, I feel like one of the stations tweeted at me one time.
Sweet.
And was like, oh, now playing M8alla. I can't even remember what song it was. And I was like, oh, this is cool. But I've come up to WKNC probably, I would say maybe once or twice. I know that I came up one time. I was managing a hip hop duo 2-3 years ago. So they came up here for an interview.
Are they still active?
They broke up and it became one artist, Danny Blaze, who now is like a solo artist. So
Are you still his manager?
I was for a little bit, and now he just kind of does his own thing.
Okay,
I
cool.
think once my career kind of started picking up, it was hard for me to balance both. So yeah.
Well, I guess speaking of management, are you managing yourself as well?
Yeah, I don't have a manager or anything. I don't have a team. All of this just comes together with me. I mean, every so often, of course, I have some good friends who are great with video and, friends who do photography and stuff like that. But in terms of just booking my shows and stuff, that's all me.
Very, very cool. I know that Raleigh and the Triangle are kind of hot spots for DIY musicians. And so I think it's really cool that you're still following that grassroots approach.
Thank you.
Absolutely. However, I know you're not native to the area.
Yes.
Do you want to give the listeners a little insight as to who you are?
Yeah, this is usually a super daunting question for me because I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to say all these things. But I was born in Paris, France. And I grew up in Washington, D.C. Because my dad was ambassador of Cameroon. So Cameroon is a country in Central Africa. So my family is from Central Africa. But by way of his job, there was just a lot of traveling. So we lived in D.C. for quite a while. And then, I kind of skipped a couple countries, but I was literally there for a couple of months. So it doesn't really matter. And then I came to North Carolina because I went to UNC Chapel Hill, which I'm proud of. But
No, it's okay. You know what? We are Wolfpack fans here at WKNC, but we have no hate towards the Ram State. So we are all good.
Cool.
Do you like North Carolina so far? Do you feel that it's been a good place to develop your music?
I think absolutely. Just I think the scene has been super duper supportive. And it just there's a lot of room in the scene for you to kind of find yourself, and there's no pressure on that front. Places that kind of have their established sound, you kind of are, a lot of people end up having to sound like they're from there. If I was in New York, there's like a typical, boom bap type situation. And then Atlanta has a super duper trappy style. And so I had the opportunity being here to just kind of figure out who me is and just kind of go with that lane.
Well, I'm very excited to explore who you are, who he is in this article or this interview. So you call yourself Tribal Trap, and you were just mentioning how different areas of the country have different sounds. Doesn't seem like Tribal Trap is a moniker adopted by any specific region. How did you fall into that?
It just came up after I was recording the first single off this project, which is Illegal. And because I was listening to a lot of trap, but I really wanted to be myself on it, and it wasn't, typically trap, yes, now there's a sound, but trap music is typical Atlanta based, not necessarily even Atlanta, but it has usually to do with selling drugs, which I don't do that. I don't didn't grow up in a trap, never really experienced it, but definitely adopted the sound that comes from that because I was just doing a lot of trap listening, so and me being from Cameroon, I was just like, all right, well, I'm really kind of being myself on, these trap drums, so what is the name for that? I don't know. I didn't know. And I just kept saying things, and Tribal Trap just kind of came to me.
It has a ring to it.
It has a ring to it.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I'm not always on trap beats. So it's like, oh, I really have to I don't want to force myself to have to fit into that box, but it works for a lot of the songs that I've done, and it works for just the energy. It's just this very, sometimes I do a lot of, I would say Afro-Caribbean like intonation when I sing. So it kind of works for most songs.
That actually leads pretty well into my next question. I was going to ask how your internationality has helped you develop your sound.
Well, I would say that with my family being a family that traveled a lot, the one thing that they were always taking with them was the music, because I mean, you leave everything behind, sometimes you leave the food behind, you leave some of the customs behind, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the things that I have 3 brothers and 3 older brothers and a sister that they would always bring was the music. So I was just exposed to all these different genres so young. So I guess that became one of the reasons I started, thinking of myself as a global citizen, really. And I went to an international high school in DC. So people of just all nationalities. So in that respect, I think I come from a musical perspective where I'm just like, the lyrics are super important to me, but I want to make sure that the music is universal.
Right. And I think you're definitely hitting on a market there with taking trap but making it your own. So I definitely see an expansive future for you. And I'm really glad that you've been able to perform at Double Barrel Benefit for us.
Thank you guys for having me. It was such a surprise. I was so excited when you guys hit me up.
We're trying to strike the iron while it's hot. That way when you're really big, you can be like, I played Double Barrel. It's where I started.
Definitely.
But actually, you've probably done stuff that's bigger than Double Barrel already. I know that you performed at Hopscotch recently.
Yeah, that was really cool. I opened for Miguel at Hopscotch, and that was super unexpected too. I don't even know. It always comes, and I think that every creative can kind of relate, but you do have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, am I done here? Like, because it's hard. It's hard to keep going and not necessarily know whether or not people are connecting with you. And it was just in one of those moments where I was contemplating what the next direction was going to be. I mean, I know that I'm never, ever, ever going to leave music because I just love it, but I just was like trying to see what the angle was exactly, where I was going with it, if I should take a break. And, Hopscotch hit me up and they asked me to do Hopscotch, and I was like, all right, cool. That was a goal that I had set. Yeah, it's a big
festival.
Yeah, and it's a goal that I had set. That was the thing that I knew I wanted to do in 2018. So, well,
congratulations on meeting your goal, by the way.
Thank you. So that was cool. But then maybe a couple weeks later, I was starting to get into, okay, I need to promote. I need to start promoting. So I wanted more information. I didn't know anything other than the fact that I was doing Hopscotch.
Right.
So I hit them up and they were like, I was like, hey, what time do I go on? That's all that I asked them. And they're like, well, right now we have you on a 3-person stage with Miguel in Division. And I was like, what?
That's crazy.
It really didn't process. Like, I just read it and I was like, oh, wow, okay. I'm thinking maybe they're going to add people and stuff. I was like, all right, well, when can I announce? And he was just like, just hold off. So I did for like an hour, but then my phone started going crazy and there were people just like, oh my God, like you're opening for Miguel on the main stage. And I was just like, whoa. Like I had no idea that that's what it was going to be.
Yeah, they released the schedule pretty early this year.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be on the Red Hat stage. Like I didn't have any idea what was really going on. So that was just crazy.
You're making waves and they noticed.
Thank you.
And Hopscotch does a pretty good job of trying to like stack all the venues with like cohesive sounds or like a lineup that people would go to see anyways. So I think putting you on with Miguel was not only like a big step for you, but like a good thing for them on that part.
I think that's what they needed. They definitely needed like a more R&B act, and it just worked out for me, I think.
Did you end up getting to meet Miguel at all?
I met Miguel's brother. We actually got to hang out with Miguel's brother. Like he had this $2,000 bottle of tequila. And he was just like sharing it with everyone backstage.
Oh my God.
I feel like I waved. I didn't meet Miguel, but I met all of the people in his entourage just because I didn't want to be the person that was like super duper pressed. But
right.
I did meet Division that night. And Miguel, it started raining, like into my last song, it started raining. So we had to, he actually let us use his van and just like, everyone that was there with me got to get in the van and just kind of chilling there until the rain.
That's pretty nice, actually.
Yeah.
And shout out to his brother with the $2,000 tequila bottle.
I didn't even know it was his brother. My friends were just, I was like, who is this guy? Like, what are y'all doing?
I imagine he gets that a lot because it's like, oh, who are you? I'm Miguel's brother. Oh, you're Miguel's brother?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's actually going to lead me into a pretty interesting question. So Hopscotch did a good job of putting you on the bill with Miguel. If you could design a bill with yourself on it and put any artists in history on it, let's do a 3-band bill. Let's say you open and then 2 of your favorites afterwards. Ooh. Who would you love to perform with?
Well, okay, see, I think the management experience that I have is going to probably cause me to say something different than who I would love to perform with. I think that like who would make sense, like what bill would I would make the most sense. I would
probably
give us
say, 2 answers.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the one that I feel like would make the most sense, I would probably say SZA, and I'll go with Rihanna because of the like Caribbean flair. Yeah, I feel like that would be one that makes the most sense. And then for who I would just love to, I just love Drake. So yeah. And I mean, I think that I just really want to sit in on some Drake music sessions, because that's another artist that I admire for their ability to just be super like universal, or just appeal to so many different markets, and the way that his music hits, it just like it hits the same everywhere,
right? Everyone's in their feelings.
Yeah, everyone's in their feelings. Like it makes everybody kind of like everybody enjoys it the same. He's just a very, very good songwriter.
Also, personal shout out to Drake. We are both Canadians, although
cool.
I am not from the 6. I'm not far from Toronto though.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ottawa, actually.
Okay, one of my best friends in elementary school was from Ottawa.
Oh, very, very cool.
And my sister lives in Montreal.
My father's from Montreal.
Yeah, my sister lives in Montreal, and then I have like a million cousins in Montreal too. So
it's a beautiful city, because I really like it. Just a side note about Montreal, because it's got all of like the historic French development, but it's also one of like the larger cities in Canada. So you get like a mix of best of both worlds, and it's an oasis of culture that the rest of whitewashed Canada doesn't really get.
Yeah, definitely.
Although the French can be prudes at times, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, they always, people always look at me funny when I speak in Canada, because obviously it's a different accent.
Parisian French.
Yeah. Well, is that what it is?
Are you speaking like, did you learn to speak French in France?
I learned, well, in Cameroon, but it's like I would say I have a Cameroonian / Parisian accent when I speak French.
Got it.
Whereas like Quebec, the Quebec accent is completely different.
Absolutely. It's like a completely different dialect.
Exactly. So I think that people think that you're kind of snobby when you don't speak it.
But they also
I don't understand too. Yeah.
I remember my dad told me this story when we were growing up. He went to France. He worked for a pharmaceutical sales company and just went around the world, just like, working with business people. And he was in France at one time, and they were speaking in French and just like making fun of Americans, and assuming that he was an American, he chimed in French and goes, "No, I can hear you. I know what you're saying about me." And then they continued to mock him for having a bad accent.
Yeah, no, Parisians are kind of known for being, very, very
uppity.
Yeah, I didn't say it.
That's okay. You know what? Yeah. Paris is your home. You're allowed to say it if you want to.
Yeah.
Other than Hopscotch, do you have a favorite show that you've done in the past, or one that you just really enjoyed?
Ooh. Favorite show. I think that I had my own show at Motorco in Durham. That was really cool because
like you were the headliner?
Yeah, I was the headliner. It was like a listening party for my project that I was going to be releasing, Never Leave Quietly. And I really liked that one just because I got to put a lot into it. So, I was able to have my projector and like choose, I was able to kind of design the set a little bit. And I thought that was cool. And I think it was just a really good way for me to just get a feel for who my music is connecting with, like who, how far the brand has reached, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I enjoyed that.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And the Motorco is like a pretty large venue.
Yeah.
When Young Bull was in the studio the other day, they talked about how they headlined the Motorco, but previously had been doing like a Young Bull Thanksgiving thing every year. And it used to be at the Pinhook, but they stepped it up and sold out the Motorco, and they were like super excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, they're so good. They're super good.
They are super talented. And I mean, so are you, and you're playing the same bill the same night.
Yeah.
That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've done a lot of shows with or next to Young Bull, and I've never really like talked to them.
Well, from my limited interview that I had with them, and not even the full group, I only had 3 of the members. They were really cool, really receptive, very, very talented guys.
Yeah, I mean, and they did Hopscotch too.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I did not get to see their set. I was I don't remember where I was during their set that night, but I was all over the city for Hopscotch.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I just lost my train of thought, but Never Leave Quietly.
Yes.
You released it at Motorco. How long ago was that?
So that was the listening party for it. And there were some hiccups in between the listening party and the release.
It happens.
But the listening party was like early last year, and I just officially released it a couple I'm going to say like a week or 2 before Hopscotch, because I wanted it to be available for people who, you know, were hearing about me. Because, I mean, Hopscotch was going crazy. Like, they were just, like, promoting like crazy. So I wanted people to have access to this music just so they could come and, you know, enjoy it and stuff. So that was in August. I think I let it go in August. Yeah.
What's your favorite song off of Never Leave Quietly?
It changes so much.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. Right now.
If you can't think of one, my follow-up question would be, which one do you think has been received the best?
Well, I think that Illegal has been received the best just because that's the one song that has a video right now. It has a video and it has a message. It was super personal, and the timing of when I released it was also super like, it was just a very timely record. And it was a new introduction to my sound. I had done, you know, I'd released other songs.
Would you be comfortable talking about the message that you put out in that video?
Yeah. It's a song that I wrote at a time where I was undocumented. I was an undocumented immigrant for a while, a couple of years. And I just kind of felt like I was in a tough spot. You know, I was in a tough spot because this was also, I'm not going to say, I usually say like the height of like just a very politically charged time. I mean, it was,
there's been a lot of xenophobia in the media recently.
Yeah. And I think it was just like another time in which we were really starting to face the concept of police brutality.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2017. So, and that was really, I mean, it was really impacting me. And at the same time, I felt like I was this woman of color who was affected by the situation, but also I was undocumented. So I felt like I didn't have the right to say anything.
A lot of intersectional struggles right there that you needed to highlight.
Yeah. I just felt like I was very, the stakes were really, really high for me.
Of course.
You know, if I were to comment, and I just felt like this was the easiest way for me to give myself a voice and to give women who were in the same predicament as me a voice, you know? So all of the lyrics kind of came from me. I remember I canceled my session to record the first version of Illegal to go to, I guess they're now calling it the Charlotte uprisings, but this was after
those riots. I was living in Charlotte at the time of the initial shooting and then the subsequent riots. Some of my like old high school like teachers were there.
So
yeah.
And I went there for that, and
I remember my family prevented me from going because they were worried it was going to get too dangerous.
And I don't even mean to get extra, but I mean it got dangerous.
It did.
But from what I saw, I mean, it got dangerous once the riot squad came.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah. So
police come in tense and ready for a fight. It's almost priming it to happen, you know, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it was just super antagonizing and just kind of like, all right. So that's kind of when it went left. And I mean, what I saw that night, I just was super, super moved. And yeah, I felt like that was the only outlet for me. I mean, I was just in a super tight spot. I'd quit my job, so I couldn't go find another one. I had broken my lease, so I was just kind of like crashing at a friend's house, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just have so much to say right now. Like, where am I going to put it? And
you made some pretty banging music with it.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that.
Not to downplay your struggles by talking about how great your music is. I think it's the low points that really just, how do I say this? It stands out, and it really shows in the final production that you've put out how much emotion and power you felt going into this, and how powerless you felt.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that was kind of the first time I was able to do that. So it was rewarding for me. And then to be able to put the video together and work with predominantly women, I would say it was probably like 90% women, cast and crew, etc. So that was really cool. It was directed by women. All of the women, the people in the shoot were women. Like, it was just, it was perfect. It was everything I wanted it to be.
That is fantastic. Yeah. And tying it into my own life, I actually tweeted the other day, and it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's blowing up, but like, it's been getting a little bit of attention because I'm a social work major, and I was just gushing on the internet about how almost all of my social work classes have predominantly female students, predominantly female professors, and it was really supportive for me to be in a chosen major, surrounded by people like me of like different backgrounds and creeds and colors, but like we are the empathetic sex. I will say on record, we are the better sex.
I'm with you on that.
Girl power. So leading into that, speaking of women, powerful women, and then yourself, where do you see yourself going as an artist in the future?
I am super duper interested in going the publishing route. I think that having done this for a long time, I think the parts that I love are the studio parts. Like, I love to be in the studio. I love writing music. I think the part that I love but is more stressful for me is definitely like the performance side. And I don't know if that has to do with the fact that I don't have a team and I don't have management. So it's just like me doing a lot of like logistics that I'm just like, oh, I wish I could kind of pass this off to somebody. But so in the future, I definitely see myself writing songs for other artists, and being able to tell other people's stories. Yeah.
Do you have any connections to the music industry that could get your foot in the door with I guess helping other artists out like that?
I do, actually. I do. And I just haven't really pulled the trigger yet.
Okay, well, we'll definitely have to keep an eye and ear on you in the future to see how that comes out. But in regards to your personal project, do you have anything that might be released sometime soon?
I'm actually shooting a video right now for a song called Jeweler. And it's featuring my bestie Danny Blaze, and so I'm doing that video with.
He was the guy that you managed that we mentioned earlier.
Yes, I managed him for a while, and then I'm shooting that with Torch House Media. So they actually do some videos for Young Bull. He does some videos for Young Bull. So we just kind of got together for the first time on a music video, and that should be really, really cool. So I'm excited to finish that up and share that with everybody.
And what can we expect from your Double Barrel benefit set? Is it going to be all music that's been already released? Anything new that we might hear? And how are you as a performer?
I get super duper nervous, like really, really bad. I think, well, I come with some dancers. They kind of like spice it up. I think I would say just expect a lot of sauce, a lot of sassiness.
A lot of sauce.
Yeah.
Rip too hard. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to it. I will be there probably both nights.
Okay, cool.
No, definitely both nights. I don't like. I'm interviewing all these artists. I want to see all of them.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to. But just for the audience before we sign off, you want to give any final comments? Come out to Double Barrel Benefit, what night you're playing, what time you're playing.
Absolutely. Come out to the Double Barrel Benefit February 2nd. I'm going on right before Young Bull. I don't know what time yet, but you should come for the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And follow me on Instagram at first name M8alla. So that's FIRST name. You know how to spell that. M8alla is MBALLA. And that's across the board, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
And where can they find your music if they want to check you out before the set?
If you want to check me out before the set, definitely Spotify, Tidal, iTunes. I don't discriminate. Whatever you got to do, I'm on there as M8alla, M8ALLA.
Mm-hmm. So you switched the B for an A.
Yeah, that came kind of last minute because
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was after Illegal, and I was like, ooh, like it was Illegal, and then another song on there called Fickle, and it was just like, okay, this is kind of like aggressive, but a lot of this is super duper vulnerable, and so I'm still being like feminine on here. So the 8 was like the shape of a woman's body, kind of symbolic of that. But then an M8 is an assault rifle. So
okay, yeah, that is very very cool. Lots of layers to that.
And I felt like it just kind of captured the essence of my music altogether. You'll get a lot of both. It'll be super aggressive in some parts, and then in other parts it'll be, like I said, super vulnerable and kind of sweet and etc.
Well, you really are an artist that does it all. You manage, you produce your own music, you do your own shows. You're from all over the world.
Yeah.
What is not to like? So February 2nd, M8alla, right before Young Bull, come out to Kings Raleigh, Double Barrel Benefit, night 2 for WKNC. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
You are welcome. All right, this has been The Local Beat with WKNC.